Thank you for staying tuned to Sunrise at Sea right here on CTV. And if you just tuned in, you're just in time for the Twitter Jabs. And my guest in studio is Mrs. Juliet Bukira Mwanguzi, the acting PRO KCCA. Thank you, Juliet, for honoring our invitation.
You're most welcome, Sarah.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, the Christmas week morning. How exciting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Any plans for Christmas?
My way?
Yes.
Of course, yeah.
Are you traveling with family or you're staying around to work?
I think I'll travel for a few days, relax a bit, and then I'll return.
All right.
Yes.
What do you love most about Christmas?
I love Christmas because it's different and you feel like everyone is celebrating.
Yes.
First of all, as a Christian, I feel like we have to honor the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
Yes. So knowing that Jesus was born on that day and we're celebrating the birth is something good to me and it means a lot to me.
Yes.
But also it's a time to meet and engage with family. Maybe you've been so busy with work, so now you're down and you're going to talk with family, be with family,
yes,
make these delicacies. The kids look forward to it.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old. She's so excited with
the Christmas gifts.
I know, so excited. She makes it feel like it's so real.
Yes.
Yes, so it feels like, oh, it's party time at home right now.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, Juliet, today we are here to discuss the festive trade order in the city.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask, let's just dive right into it. What are your thoughts on the Kampala street vendors' plea to KCCA to allocate particular streets where they can, you know, make money and not have to worry about being evicted or having their commodities, you know, confiscated, or some people have even cried that there's been brutal arrests of the street vendors. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Thank you very much, Sarah. You know, vending or hawking on the streets is illegal. It's not permitted in the city.
Yes.
However, as KCCA, we're working on it. Yeah, there is street vendors ordinance that we're working on right now.
Yes.
We hope it's a street vendors ordinance 2021.
Yes.
We hope it should be out very soon to guide what you've put forward,
yes,
like gazetting streets, gazetting particular areas for the hawkers, and them being able to trade and get some money. But before that, whatever is being done is illegal. Yes.
It's illegal. And what does the Trade Order Act say about conducting business in the city, just generally?
We do not have what we call the Trade Order Act,
yes,
but we enforce trade order using different laws like the KCCA Act, the Trade Licensing Act, the Maintenance of Law and Order Ordinance, and the Markets Ordinance.
Yes.
Basically, the Trade Licensing Act and the ordinances prohibit hawking in the city and plying of the street trade without a license. That's what they talk about. So people are supposed to trade within the licensed shops and gazetted markets.
Okay, so one of the biggest problems that the street vendors have is that they cannot afford to pay rent in the stalls that have been set up by KCCA. So what is KCCA doing to encourage traders to get off the streets and get into the government markets?
True, we have government markets existing. Actually, there are 17 markets across the city.
Yes.
But there are some markets that are specifically set up to accommodate these vendors and hawkers. Markets like Usafi, I think you've seen, you know Usafi, where it is.
Usafi, yes.
Usafi market was set up to cater for the vendors and the hawkers. But unfortunately, we don't know why. You know when you go to Usafi market, they're empty stalls. We know why they don't want to go and work there. And yet, lately, they're not supposed to pay any money to be there.
They're not paying any money?
They're not supposed to pay any money.
Do they know that they're not supposed to pay any money?
Yes, we are communicating to them.
Yes.
And they also have other spaces in places like Sentibale Kudeme Market, or people are known as Owino. Spaces in places like Wandegeya Market. It's a new market, a very good market. Spaces in Kasubi Market. And when you go to these places, there are spaces, empty spaces.
Yes.
So what KCCA is saying is, please go to these markets. And we've talked to the leadership in those markets. I told them, welcome these vendors as they come off the streets.
Yes.
Allow them to work from here. And good enough, we have a directive to take over, to manage the markets.
Yes.
So it will be way easier to make them settle in. So the spaces to work in are there. but we don't know why they're still on the streets.
Yes. So there's a gentleman on Twitter who did say, actually this is one of the tweets, and a gentleman did say something about the markets, and he has a concern that there's not going to be enough parking. And he says he's very happy that KCCA is finally taking the street vendors off the streets. However, he says that he now hopes, and let me just quote exactly what he's saying, we now hope you will move fast to work on that junction so that we can smooth traffic flow at Kasubi. I think he stays in Kasubi for the first time. And then he's like, my only worry is the new market doesn't seem to have enough parking. So potentially Hoima Road at the new market will be a mess. So how are you going to handle the parking situation there?
Thank you very much for that question on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, true. What we looked at was when you're developing these markets was what was the most appropriate available space to put the market. And the space available, we prioritized the vendors that are working on the roadside so they're able to come into the market. So we concentrated more on providing the spaces. There is parking, but it's a little bit limited. However, there is room for expansion.
Yes.
So we believe we can handle it as we go on. At least we have something to start with. There is some parking, though it's limited.
Okay, so now during the festive season, how are you handling the kavuyo? Let me just call it that, because that is the kavuyo, especially downtown. And I'm an avid shopper. I love to shop along Namrembe Road, Loom Street, you know, all those arcades and plazas right there. But now there's the issue of the shop owners also carrying their merchandise onto the verandas and on the streets, because they say that the street vendors who are, you know, are aligning their products outside their shops are taking away their customers. So how are you handling that this season?
Okay, I think it has been a tradition, I don't know, but most times in Kampala around this time, there is always what you call kavuyo. I don't know, but it always happens like that. But as the city authority, we are so mindful of what's taking place. And if you realize, effective last week on the 15th, we started a sensitization campaign using trade shows on the roads. So we have teams moving around the city, telling the traders, the illegal vendors and the illegal hawkers to get off the streets. Because we realize that there is a lot of congestion downtown. You know, when you're moving there, people are walking, others are selling merchandise, others are selling music. We have put that blasting loud music, marketing their things. So there's a lot of noise pollution, a lot of congestion from the public. So we wanted to create some order. And what we're doing right now is we've sent our teams down there using the soft approach. It's the season. Much as it's a Christmas season, we expect you to be enjoying it, but also don't engage in illegalities. So we're telling them to get off the streets. The approach is working, it's improving.
Were there any arrests being made? Because some people on Twitter are saying, is this what you call sensitization by arresting people?
No, we're not arresting anybody.
Yeah,
we're not arresting anybody.
I just wanted you to clear that.
No, we're not arresting anybody. We're just sensitizing.
Yes. So it is just a sensitization. So how are you encouraging people to actually go into the market stalls? Are there any tax holidays besides it just being free? So is it just free that they can just go and use the stalls? And how long is this? Is it a grace period, or will KCCA start, you know, charging for rent eventually?
Actually, the issue of the tax holidays is the mandate of the minister responsible for trade to grant tax holidays. What KCCA does is sometimes we take a decision to hold trade order operations during certain seasons. And these suspensions do not really qualify to be tax holidays, but sometimes just suspend. When you're mindful, for instance, when the public was struggling from the COVID times, if you realized our approach was not so high-handed, but that does not qualify for a tax holiday. And if you look at our operations this past few weeks, it has been mostly to sensitize the public. And we believe that when you come out of the festive season, we're going to maybe to ensure that these illegal trading gets off the street.
Okay.
Yes.
So what penalties will traders face if they break the law, if they continue to hawk? So when KCCA confiscates the merchandise from the street vendors, do you give it back to them? Do they get arrested? Are they charged? Do they pay fines? So what happens to those who break the law?
The law provides for penalty for street vendors, and sometimes it goes up to 12 months imprisonment. And fines,
12 months?
Yes.
That's a whole
for
year.
vending, yes. And fines can go up to 10 million if we use the Trade Licensing Act. However, sometimes the magistrates use their discretion to give appropriate sentences. Sometimes even they give sentences including community service. It depends on the magistrate. But the Trade Licensing Act, that is what it provides.
It's so harsh. Don't
Yeah,
you think it's a little too harsh? Can't you get at least softer penalties? Because if you're going to be giving a street vendor a penalty of 10 million, they probably can't afford that if they're already just selling their merchandise on the street. Isn't that just too harsh? At least 2 months imprisonment, but a whole 12 years.
That is why the magistrates, at their discretion, they sometimes give community service, depending. But you know that for that repetitive offenders, someone goes and then they're pardoned, they're given street service. And then the next time again it goes, rather not street service, community service. The next time again they are arrested. Someone is arrested 3 to 4 times without learning. So yeah, they can be imprisoned. But usually it's not as harsh.
Okay. Yes. And my last question, what is KCCA doing to handle the illegal structures that are mushrooming all over the city?
Okay, we noticed that there are some illegal structures that are mushrooming over the city. And KCCA has started enforcing the Building Control Act and the Physical Planning Act.
Yes.
What we're doing is, one, we issue notices to people that have put up these illegal structures. And if they do not abide by them, then we have no choice but to come through and enforce these notices.
Yes.
Yeah, but I want to call upon the public to seek for permission and to build within the law. Let them not do, let them not carry out illegal constructions. And the level of compliance is at 70%. Most of the building you see are actually permitted. It's just a few that are not permitted, which is a very good thing. Want to talk to the 30% that are not abiding by the regulation, to abide by them and to be to come through to KCCA. We have fast-tracked our planned approval process.
Yes.
So if they come through, they can be rest assured that the responses will be quicker than expected.
Yes.
Yeah, and if we do this, if we build in conformity to the law, we'll have no challenges.
Yes.
Yes, and our city shall be well planned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Juliet. So before I let you go, any last remarks that you would like to share from KCCA and to our viewer right now?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sarah, for this opportunity.
Yes.
And for being a great host this morning. KCCA right now is carrying out a campaign that is the Smart City campaign. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yes, I have.
The Smart City campaign pushes for smart infrastructure, whereby KCCA is committed to improving the infrastructure. We're going to have a city with better infrastructure. It pushes for smart technology, whereby we're going to automate our processes. Processes like the city address model, that's the CAM, and CAMV, that's the computer-aided mass valuation, among others. We're trying to go e-technology in the way we're transacting our business. And then the smart people whereby you as a person, you commit to a clean city, to our smart city. You don't just dispose of badly. You litter the city. You know, it's so absurd. But sometimes you're in traffic and you see someone in a very expensive car, a legit person, I have to say it, throwing out a bottle outside their cars, a car window, and they lower it and they throw it on the road. Like, oh my goodness, where did this person grow up from? So we believe that as KCCA, we believe that charity begins at home.
Absolutely.
The way I raise my daughters is the way they're going to grow up as citizens of this country.
True.
The way you grow up in your home is the way you're going to. So the way you dispose of, the way you manage your environment contributes a lot. And the campaign you're pushing right now is, we are a smart people.
Yes.
Can we have those nuggets of creating a smart city?
Yes.
And it starts with you, it starts with me, it starts with all of us. And together, we shall achieve a smart city, Kampala.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So would you like to wish our viewer a happy Christmas? Please share your Christmas message with our viewer, please.
Thank you very much. I want to wish you, our viewers, a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. 2021 has been challenging,
yes,
but let us look at the positives. A lot of good things have happened despite the COVID-19 challenging times. Let us be positive, let us be optimistic that next year is going to be a better year.
Yes.
And let us come out with all that energy as we come through the festive season, believing that next year will be a better year. Let's be ready for it.
Absolutely.
To embrace the goodness that 22 has in store for us. Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
All right. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining me today on the Twitter Jobs right here at Sunrise at Sea. Thank you so much. I had a lovely conversation with you. I enjoyed this very much. Well, there you had it from Juliet, and she urges all of you to please be a smart people so that we can have a smart city, and let's continue to do better and strive to be even better people so that we can have a beautiful city. That's all I had for you on this segment of the Twitter Jobs. Don't go anywhere, because coming up we are cooking something in the kitchen. You're watching Sunrise at Sea.